He walked away from his wife without looking back. He didn't know that, just hours earlier, she had inherited $10 billion. And by the time the will was read aloud, his hands would not stop shaking. The courthouse steps were crowded that morning, but Anna Reynolds felt completely alone. She stood still, holding a thin folder against her chest. Inside it were divorce papers. Fresh. Still warm from the printer. Her husband, Michael Reynolds, stood a few feet away, checking his watch like he had somewhere better to be. Because he did. I already told you, Michael said, his voice sharp. This doesn't need to be dramatic. Anna looked at him slowly. 10 years of marriage. 10 years of loyalty. And this was how it ended. I just buried my mother last week, Anna said softly. Can we not do this today? Michael sighed, annoyed. Your mother lived a quiet life, Anna, he replied. Let's not pretend anything changed. Anna swallowed. He didn't know. No one did. Michael signed the papers quickly and handed them to her. I'm marrying Laura Whitman, he added casually. She's my boss. She understands ambition. Across the street, a black luxury car waited. Laura sat inside, confident, elegant, scrolling on her phone. Anna's hands trembled as she took the papers. You planned this, she said. Michael shrugged. Life moves on. He turned and walked away. Anna watched him go. She didn't cry. She couldn't. Her phone vibrated in her hand. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. Ms. Reynolds, a calm voice said. This is Daniel Price, legal counsel for the estate of Margaret Hale. Anna's breath caught. Margaret Hale. Her mother. The woman who raised her alone, lived modestly, never wore jewelry, never talked about money. Yes, Anna whispered. I'm calling to inform you that the will has been finalized, Daniel continued. You are the sole heir. Anna leaned against the stone railing. I don't understand. Daniel paused. Your mother was the founder of Hale Global Assets, he said. One of the largest private investment groups in the world. Anna's heart pounded. Her total estate is valued at approximately $10 billion. The world went quiet. I think you have the wrong person, Anna said. Daniel's voice was gentle. No, Ms. Reynolds. Your mother lived quietly by choice. She hid her identity to protect you. Anna closed her eyes. All the memories made sense now. The private tutors she thought were friends. The medical bills that were always paid. The letters her mother burned after reading. When is the will reading? Anna asked. Tomorrow morning, Daniel replied. And there's something else. She held her breath. Your husband's company, he said. Hale Global recently acquired a controlling stake. Anna's fingers tightened around the phone. Michael. Laura. Everything suddenly connected. Daniel continued, your presence is required. The call ended. Anna stood there for a long time. Across the street, Michael laughed as Laura stepped out of the car and kissed him. He looked free. Relieved. Proud. He had no idea that the woman he just abandoned was now the most powerful person in his future. And that tomorrow, the will reading would change everything. Anna didn't sleep that night. She sat at the small kitchen table in the apartment she and Michael once shared, the divorce papers still lying where he had dropped them. The silence felt heavy, broken only by the ticking clock on the wall. $10 billion. The number echoed in her mind, but it didn't bring excitement. It brought questions. Memories. Pain. Her mother, Margaret Hale, had lived like a shadow. No fancy clothes. No expensive cars. Just quiet strength and careful love. She was protecting me, Anna realized. At dawn, a black sedan pulled up outside the building. A driver stepped out and opened the door. Ms. Reynolds, he said respectfully. Mr. Price asked me to bring you. Anna nodded and got in. The drive was long and silent. They arrived at a private law firm overlooking downtown Boston. Inside, everything smelled like polished wood and old money. People spoke softly. Phones didn't ring loudly here. Daniel Price met her in the lobby. "You look just like her," he said kindly. They entered a conference room. At the center was a long table. Around it sat a few lawyers, 2 trustees, and 1 empty chair. "For you," Daniel said. Anna sat down. Daniel opened a thick folder. "Margaret Hale left very clear instructions," he began. "Her wealth was placed in multiple trusts, all under your name." He slid documents across the table. Properties in New York. Private hospitals. Technology firms. Investment funds. Anna's hands shook as she turned each page. "She never wanted attention," Daniel continued. "She believed power works best when it stays invisible." Anna nodded slowly. "I just want my life to be calm," she said. Daniel smiled. "That's entirely up to you." At the same time, across town, Michael was having the best morning of his life. He sat in Laura Whitman's office, legs crossed, confidence high. "Once the divorce is final, things will move fast," Laura said, pouring him coffee. "The board already sees you as part of the future." Michael smiled. "I knew choosing you was the right move." Laura leaned back. "There's just one thing." He raised an eyebrow. "Our company has new investors," she said. "Very quiet. Very powerful." Michael shrugged. "As long as they don't interfere." Laura's smile tightened. "They won't." Back at the law firm, Daniel handed Anna a final document. "The will reading is scheduled for noon," he said. "Several parties requested to attend." Anna frowned. "Who?" Daniel hesitated. "Your former husband," he said. "And his fiancée." Anna's heart skipped. "They asked to be there?" she asked. Daniel nodded. "Your mother held shares in companies connected to them. They believe they may benefit." Anna looked down at the table. She could walk away. She could take the money quietly and disappear. But then she thought of Michael's face on the courthouse steps. The way he had walked away without looking back. "I'll attend," she said calmly. At noon, the room filled. Michael walked in with Laura on his arm. Laura wore an expensive dress and a confident smile. Michael spotted Anna and froze. She looked different. Calmer. Straighter. Stronger. He leaned toward Laura. "Why is she here?" Laura frowned. "I don't know." They took seats across from Anna. Daniel stood. "We are here to read the final will of Margaret Hale," he announced. Michael barely listened. He was too busy watching Anna. She didn't look broken. She didn't look abandoned. She looked prepared. Daniel began to read. Every sentence tightened the air in the room. When he reached the final page, Daniel looked directly at Anna. "To my daughter, Anna Reynolds," he read, "I leave everything." The room went silent. Michael's smile vanished. Laura's hand tightened on his arm. Daniel continued. "All assets, holdings, and controlling interests valued at $10 billion belong solely to her." Michael's breath caught. His hands began to shake. Because in that moment, he understood. He hadn't just left his wife. He had walked away from his future. And this was only the beginning. Michael felt the blood drain from his face. $10 billion. The words echoed in his head as if someone had shouted them into a hollow room. He stared at Anna like she was a stranger. That's not possible," he said, his voice cracking. "Her mother lived in a small house. She took the bus." Daniel Price closed the folder calmly. "Margaret Hale chose to live simply," he said. "Her wealth was private by design." Laura's confident smile was gone. She leaned closer to Michael, whispering sharply, "Why didn't you know this?" Michael didn't answer. Because he had never asked. Anna sat quietly, her hands folded on the table. She didn't smile. She didn't look proud. She looked steady. Daniel continued, "Ms. Reynolds is now the sole decision-maker for all Hale Global assets." Michael swallowed hard. Hale Global. The name hit him like a punch. He suddenly remembered the conversation Laura had mentioned days earlier. New investors. Very quiet. Very powerful. He slowly turned to Laura. You said the company had new owners, he whispered. Laura's lips pressed into a thin line. Michael. I didn't know it was her. Anna looked up then. For years, my mother stayed invisible, she said softly, so I could live a normal life. Michael laughed nervously. Anna, listen. This doesn't change how I feel about you. She met his eyes. It changes everything, she replied. The meeting ended shortly after. Lawyers shook hands. Papers were signed. Michael stood up too fast, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. Anna, he said, rushing toward her. We need to talk. Alone. Laura grabbed his arm. Michael, what are you doing? He pulled away. Please. Just give me a minute. Anna stood slowly. 1 minute, she said. They stepped into the hallway. Michael ran a hand through his hair. I didn't know. If I had known. She interrupted gently. You would have stayed. Yes, he said quickly. Of course. Anna nodded once. That's why I'm glad you didn't know, she said. He stared at her. What does that mean? It means I finally see the truth, she replied. You loved comfort, not commitment. Michael's voice shook. I made a mistake. You made a choice, Anna said. She turned and walked back into the room. Laura was waiting, arms crossed. This changes things, Laura said sharply. You can't just walk away from me now. Michael looked at her, then at Anna. For the first time, neither future felt secure. That afternoon, emails began to move quietly. Boards were notified. Contracts were reviewed. Decisions were made. Anna sat in a private office Daniel had arranged for her. I don't want revenge, Anna said. I want clarity. Daniel nodded. What would you like to do? She took a breath. Review Michael's company, she said. No special treatment. Daniel's expression remained neutral. Understood. Across the city, Michael sat at his desk, restless. An email notification popped up. Subject, immediate board review. His stomach dropped. Minutes later, Laura stormed into his office. What did you do? She demanded. I didn't do anything, Michael said. She laughed bitterly. She did. By evening, Laura was called into a board meeting. By night, she was removed as CEO. Her access was cut off. Michael watched from his desk as security escorted her out. She didn't look at him. His phone buzzed. A message from Anna. This is business. Not anger. Michael stared at the screen. For the first time, he understood something painful. Anna didn't need to raise her voice. She didn't need to embarrass him. All she had to do was stop protecting him. And once she did, everything began to fall apart. The fall was quiet. No headlines. No public scandal. Just doors closing one by one. Michael felt it before he understood it. The next morning, his key card didn't work. He stood at the glass entrance of the office building, swiping it again and again. The light stayed red. Security approached. Sir, the guard said politely, your access has been revoked. Michael's throat went dry. There must be a mistake. There's no mistake, the guard replied. You've been terminated. Across the street, Laura watched from her car. Her face was pale. She didn't wave. She didn't smile. She drove away. Michael walked home alone. That evening, he opened his email. Mortgage review notice. Loan reassessment. Account freeze pending. Every financial support he depended on had come from one source. And that source now belonged to Anna. 3 days later, Michael received a formal letter requesting his presence at Hale Global's headquarters. He arrived early, wearing his best suit. Inside the boardroom, Anna sat at the head of the table. She looked calm, professional, untouchable. Michael, she said, please sit. He obeyed. We've reviewed your role, Anna continued. Your performance was tied closely to Laura Whitman's leadership. He nodded silently. With the recent changes, she said, your position is no longer needed. His hands trembled. Anna, he whispered. Please. I can fix this. She looked at him with soft eyes. I'm not here to fix you, she said. I'm here to protect myself. He swallowed. I loved you. Anna leaned forward slightly. No, she said. You loved what you thought I was worth. She slid a final document across the table. Severance terms. Minimum. Fair. Final. Michael signed. Because he had no choice. That night, Michael packed his apartment. The furniture stayed. The silence followed him. He slept on a friend's couch. Then another. Then a motel. His phone stopped ringing. The world moved on. Across the city, Anna stood on the balcony of her apartment, watching the lights below. She didn't feel proud. She felt free. For the first time in her life, she didn't have to hide. She had learned a truth her mother knew all along. Power doesn't need to shout. It just needs to stop apologizing. Anna didn't destroy Michael. She simply stepped into the life she was always meant to live. And once she did, everything else fell into place. If this story made you pause, don't just watch in silence. Like this video if you believe quiet strength is more powerful than loud revenge. Subscribe if you want more stories where karma arrives calmly and hits deep. And tell me in the comments, would you forgive Michael, or would you walk away like Anna did? Your answer might help someone watching right now.